those officers to be on the street fighting crime. As they said, we have several officers that are riding around.
According to an internal source within the police department, Tiffany Henry is believed to have shared confidential information with authorities. The disclosure of this information could potentially lead to significant concerns regarding her conduct and associations, possibly linking her to activities that have been under investigation for an extended period.
And that's all I got to say, and then nothing you can do about it.
People are even picking up on her vocabulary. Stop messing with her. Tiffany Henyard, hoodwinked, bamboozled, she forgot the grandstanding part. But anyway, as we go deeper into the meeting, they kind of start to bring forward the issue with the city of Dalton on how they're losing money. Now, they would always talk about it, but now it's starting to reach reality to where, as you know, layoffs will be taking place. And also, they're trying to sell certain buildings. Now, if you guys remember Tiffany Henyard's dream to build a swimming pool so all the black babies could learn how to swim, I don't know what she's on, but she wants to have a swimming pool segued with a police station. Like people want to go and swim next to the police station. But anyways, we're going to hear what Kiana Belcher had to say about the whole situation and her plans, or the village's plans on...
Authorities have reportedly made the decision to suspend the transfer of funds to the city of Dalton amid escalating concerns about potential money laundering activities. This move has had profound financial consequences for the city and the state as a whole. The scandal, which allegedly implicates several high-ranking officials, including Mayor Tiffany Henyard, has severely undermined public trust in the city's financial management. Allegations of fund mismanagement and the possibility of illegal financial dealings have intensified scrutiny. In response, state authorities have taken decisive steps, including halting all financial support to the city until a comprehensive investigation into the matter is fully completed. This drastic action highlights the seriousness of the situation and the need for transparency and accountability in the city's financial operations.
The state of Illinois announced that they will stop sending money to the state, to the county of Illinois, Dalton. And I mean, Lori liked it. I have to admit, I was wrong, but later on. RJ.
Yeah, Tiffany Henyard keeps on keeping on. She is a super mayor, super delusional. And you know one thing is, if you only follow her, then you would think that she's doing, like she's successful, right? Like a good manager would, diligently, responsibly, not putting your own interest before the interest of the collective. And the financial reports are one of the ways that the public can see transparently what you did with the resources that were at your disposal. Now, if you're already under fire because there's a lot of suspicion of how you're
misusing, as I've been saying, taxpayer money, spending upwards of $3.5 million, or at least driving the town's money straight into the doggone dirt. Now, one of her main cops, one of the cops that was on her payroll, and this guy was getting paid some serious ducats, all right? This dude was making upwards of, he collected about over $200,000 just from the mayor itself due to overtime and protection on the mayor. Let's be real. Then also, if he was such a good cop, then why was he forcibly kicked out? Why was he fired? If he was such a good cop, why was he exposed and kicked out and fired?
In a highly controversial development, Tiffany Henyard has reportedly been charged with allegedly exploiting the local police force for her own personal gain. According to various sources, instead of the police focusing on their primary responsibility of safeguarding the community and upholding law and order, officers have been reportedly redirected to assist in initiatives and tasks that directly benefit Henyard. These actions have sparked outrage within the public, with many questioning whether the local police force is being used for inappropriate purposes. Investigations are ongoing, and authorities are seeking clarity on whether the accusations hold merit. as they could have serious implications for the trust between law enforcement and the community.
Dirty cop out here, or at least a dirty cop at the time, working for Tiffany Henyard, taking all that money and I don't know, stuffing it into his mattress at night. I don't know, but he clearly was trying to hide his assets, trying to hide the money that he was actually gaining so that he would not lose that money, which is absolutely crazy to me. But that also showed you the kind of company that Tiffany Henyard was keeping. Okay, you are what you eat. You are the company that you keep, so on and so forth. You can use every single saying under the sun to describe or to talk about this particular situation. But to me, you can see clear as day that this guy is corrupt, and I guarantee you, he's not the only one that's corrupt in this group. Tiffany Henyard, I'm sure, was all about it as well, and was totally engaging in this whole situation as well. What's interesting about this as well is that we can definitely see that the tension is starting to tighten, right? The focus is starting to zero in slowly but surely into Tiffany Henyard. If they're going after the deputy chief of police, one of her men that was part of her security detail, it's only a matter of time that herself and anybody else that was connected to that money is going to go down with.
A troubling event that has raised significant concerns about both the integrity and financial stability of those associated with Tiffany Henyard is the recent declaration of bankruptcy by one of her officers. This development has added to the growing skepticism surrounding Henyard's operations, with many questioning whether this financial crisis is linked to her influence. The bankruptcy has not only cast a shadow over the officer's personal financial situation, but has also led to doubts about the broader implications for Henyard's business dealings and the individuals working closely with her. As the situation unfolds, questions regarding the ethical and financial practices of Henyard and her network continue to grow, further eroding trust in the integrity of those involved.
Who has what? Man, this is a room full of people who just got off work and senior citizens and people who care about their community. Nobody's out here finna just crash out and shoot up the place for you. It's not that deep. Come on. Me throwing my life away for her? Insanity. Nobody's thinking that way. You're a crooked thug in the mayor position. She's gonna assassinate herself at the end of the day anyway. No need for anybody to be on that type of time.
The recent bankruptcy case has raised serious questions about the qualifications of Tiffany Henyard's administration and the effectiveness of its screening process. Critics argue that the financial collapse of one of her officers reflects poorly on the leadership and oversight mechanisms within Henyard's organization. This situation has prompted many to wonder whether proper vetting procedures were followed when selecting individuals for key roles. With the bankruptcy casting doubt on the officer's judgment and financial stability, concerns have emerged about whether Henyard's administration is adequately equipped to handle such critical responsibilities. As the case continues to unfold, the scrutiny surrounding Henyard's management practices intensifies, prompting a closer examination of the policies and procedures in place to ensure the competence and reliability of those under her supervision.
Most controversial mayor in all of America. So this mayor named Tiffany Henyard is the mayor of a place called Dalton, Illinois. And essentially every single resident in Dalton wants Tiffany out of office. This is mainly because Tiffany's very controversial use of taxpayer money. For starters, Tiffany has a full security detail that goes everywhere with her in the town. This security detail is estimated to be about $250K a year. In addition to security, Tiffany also uses taxpayer funds to do things like buying billboards.
In recent months, growing concerns have emerged regarding the misallocation of security resources in Dalton, with reports suggesting that the city's security detail has shifted disproportionately towards protecting Mayor Tiffany Henyard, rather than addressing the escalating public safety needs of the community. This reallocation of resources has sparked significant frustration among residents, many of whom believe that the primary function of the security detail should be to safeguard the public, not to shield the mayor from perceived threats. As Dalton faces a host of urgent challenges, including rising crime, deteriorating infrastructure, and increasing calls for improved public safety measures, the excessive attention and resources devoted to Henyard's protection have become a major point of contention. Despite the growing concerns over the safety of Dalton's residents, Henyard's security detail has reportedly focused the majority of their efforts on safeguarding the mayor's personal security, leaving the broader security needs of the city sidelined. This shift in priorities is seen by many as a serious misstep, reflecting an increasing disconnect between the mayor and the people she was elected to serve. Critics argue that Henyard's erratic behavior, which includes controversial decisions and unpredictable public appearances, has led to a situation where her personal protection takes precedence over the public's well-being. What makes this situation particularly alarming is that, with the local police already stretched thin, resources that would typically be deployed for emergency responses or routine policing activities have now been redirected to monitor the mayor. This diversion not only undermines essential public safety services, but it also fuels suspicions that Henyard is growing indifferent to the needs of her constituents. The excessive prioritization of her personal security at the expense of community issues sends a troubling message to residents, many of whom feel their concerns are being ignored while the mayor remains insulated from the very challenges faced by the city. Dalton's ongoing financial crisis has only exacerbated the situation. The city is grappling with a growing budget deficit, and as funds are redirected to support Henyard's security detail, vital services such as street patrols and emergency response teams are being severely compromised. The mayor's increasing preference for a heavily guarded security presence has further fueled dissatisfaction among Dalton residents, who feel that their leader is more concerned with self-preservation than with the well-being of the community. As resources continue to be devoted to Henyard's personal protection, the public's perception of her leadership has solidified into one focused more on image and safety than on addressing Dalton's systemic problems. Residents, already struggling with financial instability, worsening infrastructure, and rising crime rates, are questioning whether Henyard's actions reflect responsible governance. The mayor's growing detachment from the real issues facing Dalton has raised alarms that her leadership has become more about sustaining her own image than tackling the deep-rooted problems of the city. Moreover, the diminished availability of security personnel for routine public service duties, such as patrols and community-focused policing, has made the disconnect between Henyard's priorities and the city's needs all the more visible. This sense of alienation within the community is reflected in the mounting dissatisfaction and distrust among Dalton's residents, who feel that their concerns are no longer a priority for local government. Henyard's perceived elitism has only deepened the divide, as citizens struggle to maintain essential services while the mayor focuses on lavish security measures. In light of these mounting issues, calls for a reassessment of Dalton's security resource allocation have intensified. Residents are demanding that their elected officials prioritize the collective well-being of the community over the mayor's personal interests and shift the focus back to addressing the core issues of public safety and fiscal health. The message from Dalton citizens is clear. They want their concerns to be heard and addressed, not sidelined in favor of extravagant security measures for a mayor who seems increasingly detached from the reality of the city's struggles. With the city in financial distress and public disillusionment growing, pressure is mounting on Mayor Henyard to take responsibility for her leadership decisions and reconsider her approach to governance. Now more than ever, Dalton's residents are calling for a leadership that prioritizes the needs of the people over the personal interests of those in power.
Lewis is going to step down without taking a few other people down with him. I'm sure he's going to start squawking as soon as he gets thrown into a jail cell. Wait for it, guys, because it's coming. And for Tiffany Henyard, Mayor, we can use that for now, okay? So Mayor Tiffany Henyard, let me tell you something. It's coming for you. Oh.
Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dalton has undeniably been one of the most controversial in the town's history, marked by a series of scandals and allegations that have undermined local governance. From the outset of her administration, Henyard, once hailed as a trailblazer in local politics, quickly found herself at the center of multiple investigations and intensifying public criticism. Allegations of unethical behavior, including financial mismanagement and the misappropriation of public funds, have overshadowed her time in office, creating a deep rift between her administration and the residents she was elected to serve. One of the most controversial aspects of her leadership has been her personal spending habits, which have drawn intense scrutiny. Reports surfaced detailing Henyard's lavish personal expenses, including expensive hotel stays, first-class flights, and extravagant dining bills. Critics argue that these funds should have been directed toward addressing the town's many pressing issues, such as unpaid vendors, deteriorating infrastructure, and growing public safety concerns. While Dalton was grappling with a mounting debt, Henyard was allegedly indulging in luxury trips at the taxpayers' expense, leading residents to question how their mayor could justify such expenditures during a time of financial crisis. The situation worsened when Henyard's oversight of two governmental roles, her duties as mayor of Dalton and her position as supervisor of Thoron Township, came under fire. Critics highlighted the potential conflict of interest, as her management of both entities became increasingly erratic. Rather than using her influence to drive meaningful community development or promote fiscal stability, Henyard's actions fueled animosity among both town councils. Members accused her of negligence, corruption, and recklessness, further fueling the perception that she was using her public office for personal gain. Her approval ratings plummeted, with former allies turning into vocal critics and calling for her resignation. Public backlash intensified when Henyard attempted to block every initiative aimed at increasing transparency in Dalton's finances. Despite growing evidence against her, including allegations of unethical use of taxpayer dollars, Henyard refused to concede or address the mounting concerns. Instead, she launched public defenses, dismissing the accusations as part of a larger conspiracy to discredit her. She frequently clashed with local officials and undermined the efforts of Dalton trustees who sought to rein in her alleged reckless spending, even vetoing calls for an independent investigation into her finances. Her refusal to embrace financial accountability and her insistence on defending her actions fueled further erosion of public trust, leaving many to view her behavior as emblematic of authoritarian tendencies, marked by a blatant disregard for the checks and balances of local government. However, it wasn't just financial mismanagement and public disputes that defined Henyard's leadership. Her confrontational approach toward the media and local residents further alienated many. At town meetings, she often resorted to divisive rhetoric, turning these forums into platforms for self-promotion rather than fostering meaningful public dialogue. In some instances, she even used government resources, billboards, social media, and other public platforms, primarily for personal publicity, despite widespread dissatisfaction within the community. Amid these growing crises, Dalton's financial situation continued to deteriorate. The town, once on a path to fiscal stability, was now on the brink of collapse. Reports indicated severe shortages in funds to support essential public services, complete necessary repairs, or pay local employees. Meanwhile, Henyard allegedly continued to live a life of luxury funded by taxpayer money. Adding to the mounting criticism was a more personal scandal involving Henyard's financial instability. Despite reportedly earning over $300,000 a year, it was revealed that she was facing eviction from her own home for failing to pay rent for several months. The landlord accused her of neglecting to make payments and, in an even more shocking turn, alleged that Henyard had changed the locks to prevent access to the property. This revelation only further fueled the ongoing debate about her financial mismanagement, casting a shadow over her ability to effectively govern the town. As the town of Dalton continues to grapple with the consequences of Henyard's leadership, the calls for accountability have grown louder. With the mayor seemingly unaccountable for her actions, many residents are left questioning her ability to lead, and whether her priorities lie with the community or with her own personal interests. In recent months, Mayor Tiffany Henyard's actions have faced increasing scrutiny, not only for allegations of financial mismanagement, but also for the security measures she has put in place, which some critics claim are excessive and unwarranted. While Henyard's supporters, including her security team, defend these measures as being fully compliant with the law, others argue that they are disproportionate, redirecting resources to protect the mayor rather than addressing broader community safety concerns. Despite the criticism, Henyard has remained defiant, justifying her actions by referencing legal provisions that, according to her, mandate the robust security measures she has implemented. Amidst the ongoing debates, authorities in Dalton have called for a special meeting to examine Henyard's financial management, amid growing concerns about her alleged spending practices. The upcoming meeting is expected to explore how city funds have been allocated and whether policies need to be established to ensure greater accountability in future spending, including curbing excessive financial activities. However, the recent firing of a key official involved in the investigation has further fueled public outrage, with critics accusing Henyard of attempting to silence those advocating for transparency and accountability. This sudden dismissal has deepened the growing distrust between Henyard and Dalton residents, leaving many to question her commitment to openness and her willingness to address mounting concerns. In a dramatic development, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been appointed to lead a critical inquiry into the corruption allegations against Henyard's administration. This decision has sparked further controversy, as many question whether Lightfoot's own contentious political history makes her the right person to lead such an investigation. With both public skepticism and an ever-expanding list of allegations against Henyard, Lightfoot's involvement in what is perhaps the most significant probe of Henyard's term has raised concerns about potential bias, given her political background. As part of the inquiry, Lightfoot revealed troubling claims about excessive compensation for Dalton police officers during Henyard's tenure, raising further questions about financial irregularities and resource allocation within the police department. These revelations have only deepened concerns about the mayor's spending practices, prompting a more extensive investigation into the distribution of city funds across various departments. As new allegations surface regarding Henyard's misuse of taxpayer dollars for personal expenses, including lavish travel, the possibility of financial misconduct becomes increasingly plausible. These accusations could lead to serious legal consequences, including jail time, especially if it is proven that Henyard used public funds for personal gain. The suggestion that Henyard used taxpayer money to finance personal trips is especially concerning, as it indicates a breach of the trust between her and the residents of Dalton, who rely on the responsible management of public funds. If these claims are substantiated, they could have lasting repercussions for Henyard's political career, and may result in legal actions that could force her from office, or worse, land her behind bars. Another alarming aspect of the controversy is the claim that Henyard went to great lengths to conceal sensitive matters, including potentially serious financial issues within the town's management. Sources suggest that she may have actively suppressed information that could have prompted greater public awareness and action. If it is found that she deliberately withheld critical details, it would be viewed as an abuse of her power and a stark failure to uphold her responsibilities as a leader. The growing list of accusations, coupled with Henyard's continued defiance, signals a mayor struggling to maintain her grip on power despite mounting evidence that her actions have damaged both the reputation of her office and the well-being of her community. Her tenure has become mired in scandal, with both the public and local officials questioning her fitness for office. Calls for greater oversight are only intensifying with each new allegation, and if the accusations prove true, the misuse of public funds for personal expenditures could be the final blow to Henyard's political career, signaling not only a betrayal of public trust, but a deeper, more systemic failure in leadership.